back. It's good to be back. Now let's take the news. Let's begin by telling you that Mohammed Idris, the Minister of Information and National has stated that the federal government is investigating the alleged $585 million naira for vulnerable groups in Akwa Ibom, and Lagos States into a private account. A document allegedly signed by the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, has directed to the Office of the Federation. To the Office of the Accountant General of the disbursement of 585.189 million naira into one Bridget Mujisola private account. The Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the $61.6 million disbursement to foreign airlines through various deposit money banks. Kahama Sidi Ali, the Acting Director of Corporate Communications of the bank, said that the initiative is part of the CBN's ongoing effort to reduce its existing liability to airlines. Sidi Ali further stated that the CBN has successfully redeemed outstanding forward liabilities totaling about $2 billion in the last 3 months. The Supreme Court has ruled that the federal government has total control over all waterways in the country, including the right to levy and license waterway operators. In its ruling, the Apex Court declared that states trying to regulate the sector and impose levies on businesses operating on the nation's inland waterways were acting wrongly, unlawfully, and illegally. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has announced that the second round of dry and wet farming interventions will begin this month. The initiatives are intended to increase productivity and boost food security. Senator Abubakar Kyari, Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, made the announcement in Abuja during a visit by Jigawa State Governor Malam Umar Namadi. A cross-section of Nigerians have expressed their financial anticipations and resolutions for the year 2024, despite the recurring hardship in the country. Residents in Abuja really have this to say.
Nigerians recently joined the rest of the world to welcome the year 2024. It is no gainsaying that for many Nigerians, the struggle to see the end of 2023 was a challenging experience. As we welcome the new year, Nigerians look forward with anticipation to what is in store for them. Abuja residents here share their new year resolutions and thoughts despite hardships.
I'm not a businessman, I'm a career man. My new year resolution is just, I'm praying to Almighty God that I should help the government to this transport of a team. Is giving us a problem. Like me now, I'm going to work. I spend almost 2,000 naira coming here from Galadima down to this place.
For me as a person, I've adopted, a strategy that I feel that if I use it in this year 2024, it will help me in. I'll be judicious in my expenses and also to meet up with the demands. The year has just begun, and I'm optimistic, and I believe that this year will be better than that of.
Everybody have to eat food. Actually, we know that they are trying to do the needful to help the country to grow, to save. But still, people need to be alive before you can be a leader for some people. The money, although money, we need to still thank God because we are alive. It's when you are alive that you can be able to celebrate. No matter how it be, even though it's 1 cup of rice you cook for your children and they will be able to eat.
Me, my financial target whatsoever, but I'm praying to my God that let God spare my life, because I can see in this regime, though nobody can say a regime is 100%. Some people will comment bad, some people will comment positive. For me personally,
I was around for Christmas and New Year with my family, and we were able to just make the merry together. I did not go beyond my limits because of what we have in town already. And having said that, look at the new year. When I look at the new year, definitely I have to discipline myself more I have to discipline myself more, in the sense that anything I don't need, I won't go for it.
Yeah, I give thanks to God. It was well spent. And I spend it according to how the nation is. No, it's not like before we used to do much expenses, you understand? I adjusted and I was like, using the time to think on what can I really do that will bring me money? Because there's no money in the country, things is difficult, hardship everywhere. So my invention, I just think of having a new invention.
The year promises to redouble efforts in the areas of economy and security to restore a better life for Nigerians. Norma Omeje for Moneyline with Nancy.
My cameraman in here, Monday precisely, they say that Nigerians deserve a certificate of survival. I agree with you, Monday. All right, let's move ahead. Ghana expects to receive $1.15 billion in funding from the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank by the end of February as bilateral creditors get close to an agreement on debt restructuring terms. Ken Oforiatta, the Minister of Finance, expressed confidence that official creditors will reach a memorandum of understanding in January meeting. Now let's move ahead. During his ongoing Middle East trip to prevent the Gaza war from expanding, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani at Lusail Palace on Sunday. Blinken and the European Union top diplomat Joseph Borrell were on separate trips to the area, attempting to contain the war's spillover into Lebanon, the West Bank, and the Red Sea shipping lanes. UN Under Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator Martin Griffiths has called for immediate action in the new year to stem ruinous conflict in Sudan, as nearly 9 months of war has tipped the country into a downward spiral and caused massive displacement and disorder. All right, let's quickly take a break. When we return from the break, I'll be taking you through the numbers. Shall we take a break or shouldn't we take a break, Director? What should we do right now? Should we go? Let's take a break. Yes, let's take a break. Let's take you through the markets. The Nigerian equities market finished the first week of 2024 on a positive note, and that was buoyed by sustained investors' confidence in listed companies. I did tell you earlier that the Nigerian market returned about 46% in the year 2023. The all-share index surged to 6.5% last week to close at 79,664.66 points. Strong performances in Dangote Cement, Airtel Africa, as well as MTN drove the market's positive performance, outweighing losses in Stanbic, Guinness, as well as Cadbury. For this year, hopes are really high as per. Let's see if we will get new listings to the NGX, of course, perhaps from Dangote Foods, as well as the NNPC Limited and some other companies. But let's see how that goes. Now, the year-to-date growth is at 6.5%. So for the first week of 2024, we are not doing badly at all, as the market capitalization ended the week at 43.59 trillion naira. That's it over there. All right, if we quickly move ahead to the money market, last week we saw systems liquidity remaining stable despite the central bank's debit of 576.20 billion naira through the CRR. The OBB rate saw a decline on a week-on-week basis, settling at 14.25%, while the overnight rate also saw a decline to close at 14.9%. For the Treasury bills market, last week we saw a bullish trend due to strong system liquidity levels, as the average benchmark yield decreased to close at 5.72%. For the FGM bond market, it witnessed a bullish trend as in various maturities garnered buying interest across the curve. Average benchmark yield declined to 14.15%. Now, the Euro bond market traded with bearish sentiment last week, with selling activities seen on securities traded across board. The benchmark yield stabilized at a closing rate of 10.38%. Now, at the NAFEM, which is the official foreign exchange market, naira gains to 869.39 naira to $1. Now, if we move over to the foreign markets, U.S. markets today were down. That's talking about the futures. They were down after the major averages fell in the first week of 2024 as traders anticipate upcoming inflation data and earnings report from major banks, while European markets opened lower today, mirroring the adverse reaction observed at the beginning of trading in 2024. In the Asian Pacific markets, gains were reversed today, with Hong Kong stocks leading losses in the region. All prices fell in early trade this Monday on sharp price cuts by top exporter Saudi Arabia and a rise in OPEC output that offset worries about escalating geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. Brent is currently trading, at least before we came into the studio, at about 78 US dollars, while gold prices fell this Monday as fading expectations of an early rate cut in the US kept the dollar and bond yields supported ahead of a key inflation print due later this week. All right, that's it for the market. Let's quickly take a break to bring in my guests. We will be talking about strategies for personal growth and wealth creation this year. We want you to start on a very good note. Since Nigerians are very resilient people, we do things ourselves. Let's talk about how to improve ourselves this year. Let's quickly take a break. Connect with us on all our socials. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the program. My guest is joining me right now, Dr. Olumide Emmanuel, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Common Sense Group. Doctor, good to have you and Happy New Year to you. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy. Happy New Year to you too. Happy New Year, Nigerians.
I can hear you, doctor, but
hello.
Okay, now I can hear you, doctor. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to Nancy and Happy New Year to all Nigerians and everyone all over the world.
Fantastic. Now we're talking about strategies for personal growth and wealth creation. This is one topic that I'm really so interested in. Doctor, are you still there? Can I still see doctor? Yes. Okay, now I can see you. Now I can see you. I said this is one topic I'm very interested in, and it really led me into, coming up with a conference which I call Personal and Business Acceleration Masterclass. This is just the theme. This is a new year. A lot of us approach the new year with, renewed a sense of commitment, dedication, and, the popular word, New Year resolutions. But I want us to start on the premise of why is it so important to invest in yourself first? Because just during the break too, my camera woman did say that that every Nigerian is a local government chairperson. So why is it important to invest in yourself, especially in a country that has so much uncertainty?
Well, one of the things we need to understand is that in life, if you don't invest in yourself, no one will really invest in you. Because in the world that we live in today, for you to be able to grow and be the best version of yourself, you have to be intentional about doing what needs to be done to experience that growth. Nobody grows young. Everybody grows old. And when you are growing old, it is automatic that every day you are aging. And because you are aging every day, you are growing old every day, the other aspects of your life does not grow automatically. Your finances does not grow automatically. Your wisdom does not grow automatically. Your relational ability does not grow automatically. So you therefore need to now be intentional about growing other aspects of your life, because if you don't do it, you're going to end up remaining the same. When we came on air right now, when you started out, you said Happy New Year to everybody. When you welcomed me, the first thing you said to me was Happy New Year. But the question we always need to ask ourselves is, how happy is the year? Because, every year we say Happy New Year. But just saying Happy New Year does not make the year better than the previous one. Because if you look at all the years of our lives, you are the only constant in all the years.
Yeah.
So if you are 35 years old, you have heard Happy New Year 35 times. If you are 56 years old, you have heard Happy New Year 56 times. But are the years happy? You are the only constant. So a Happy New Year is just a date. When we said Happy New Year, Australia has already said Happy New Year 10 hours before us. When we said Happy New Year, America was still in the old year. Why? Because we all enter into a new year at different time zones because of where we are positioned on the globe. So if you are going to be the best version of yourself and maximize your possibility, you need to be committed to personal growth and development, because no one will do it for you.
Now, doctor, can you give us some secrets as to self-improvement and personal growth for people that are watching right now and they want to undertake that journey? What are the things that you can help us unlock to begin that journey?
So the first thing we need to understand is to identify the different aspects and dimensions of our lives, document them, and then have a growth plan for each of these aspects of our lives. So for instance, every individual is spiritual. You are a spirit being. So you need to have a growth plan for your spiritual life. Because in the world that we live in today, you are either in the secret cult or in the secret place. Everybody you are using is the right one. Because if you are not using something, somebody is using something against you. So you need to have a spiritual growth plan. Number two, every individual is a human being. You need to grow. So you need to have a personal health plan, because health is wealth. So you need to have a personal health plan on how to grow your health, because you have to be alive for any other aspects of you to grow. Number three, if you are a married person or you are planning to get married, everyone has family. So you need to have a plan for your family. How am I going to be a better husband? How am I going to be a better wife? How am I going to be a better parent? How am I going to be a better sibling? How am I going to be a better person? So you need to have that documented there. If you have a job or a business, as a career person, as a business person, you need to develop a growth plan for that area of your life. Then for your finances, you sit down, what is my financial level right now? Where will I want to operate in? What did I do right? What did I do wrong in the previous year? And then you document that. So that is where it starts from. Being intentional about growth. Then number two, documenting all the vital areas of your life and developing a growth plan concerning each of those areas. Now, when you develop the goals, I always tell people to use the word GPS, just like you have the GPS, like a Google map. So you develop the goal for your life, and the goal is to grow and to become better. Then you now come up with plans on how you will achieve it. So let's take, for instance, you want to grow in your relationship as a husband or as a wife. So if the goal is to grow my marital relationship and grow in my relationship with my family, so that's the goal. Then what is the plan? You now establish a plan that, okay, once every week, I'm going to do this. Once every month, I'm going to do this. Once every day, I'm going to do this. So those are now the plans. Then the S is the strategy. What are the strategies? So you might decide to say that once every month, I'm going to go out on a date night with my wife. I'm going to go to the movies with my family. So you have a goal to grow. You develop a plan to go to the movie. So you now come up with a strategy. The strategy will now be, what movie, cinema are we going to? The strategy will be, when are we going? What movie are we watching? So you develop that. And that's what you now do for each aspect. Your spiritual growth, your career growth, your business growth, your financial growth, your health growth. You put everything together. If it's about physical, you can say, okay, this year, my growth plan is to grow in my health and to be healthy. So that is the goal. What is the plan? The plan will be, I'm going to go to register in a gym, or the plan will be, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm not going to eat late in the night. And then the strategy will now be to put things in place to ensure that those things are done. And that's how everyone that has ever become anything substantial has been able to plan their life. But one major aspect that is also very important that helps all these accountability partners. You need to have accountability partners that will help you, because in life, you don't necessarily grow up alone. You are brought up. When you were young, you were brought up by your parents. You were brought up by your guardians. If you also want to grow in life, there are people that will bring you up. So you need people around you, accountability partners, mentors, that will help to be able to ensure that those things you plan to do, they encourage you, they strengthen you, they check on you to be sure you're still in line. Together, will become better.
Okay, doctor, let me take you on a few things which you've said. You gave us DPS, at least you gave us like a map as to how to follow spiritual, personal, family, business, and financial plan. But let me take you on a few things which you've mentioned. You've talked about growth along these different areas of our lives. Can we actually personally grow simultaneously, spiritually, financially, personally, family, business growth? Can all this be at the same time? Can we achieve it at the same time simultaneously?
Yes and no. Yes, you can achieve them simultaneously if you are already doing them simultaneously. Because, we are talking about growth. You are growing because you're already doing something and you want to be better in it. So if, for instance, you're already a spiritual person, so it's just to continue the growth. So, for instance, a lot of people are Christians, some are Muslims. So if you're already a Christian or a Muslim, you are a Christian, you already go to church, you already pray once in a while. So now grow. You now say, okay, this year I will be regular in church. I won't miss services. I will start praying daily instead of praying once in a while. If you're a Muslim, you do the same. Now, if you already physical, you eat every day. So you just add that to say, okay, this year I won't eat anyhow. I will not eat junks. If you already have a wife, you already have children, you're already doing it. So you just have to now have a plan to say, I need to be a better husband. Then you sit down with your family. I and many other people, we have family meetings. We have periodic family meetings. We have annual family meetings. In December, I still had a family meeting with my wife. It was okay. How is this marriage? Are you okay with the marriage? Are there things I'm doing that I need to change? As we enter into the year, what are your dreams? What are your plans? So you're already married, you already have children. If you are working, you already have a job. So you just see that this is my job, this new year, what are the complaints in my appraisal? What did my boss say? So all these things can be done simultaneously if you are already doing them. If you are not already in them, then you pick the ones that you're already doing and you begin to plan to bring up. So if, for instance, you don't have a job now, your plan will be how to get a job.
What if you don't get a job?
Do I want to get married this year? And that's how it works.
What if you don't get a job? Because many people have also been seeking for jobs for a very long time. What if they don't get a job? And some have also heard some saying that they're actually wired for 9-to-5 jobs. Not many of us, not all of us are wired for businesses or being entrepreneurs.
Yeah, of course, that's true. Now, one thing we need to understand is I'm one person that has gone a long way in understanding how money issue works. The only way money will flow to you, money flows in exchange for values. Money is a reward for the problems you solve. So, values, what is value? Meeting need, solving problem, answering question. So, if you do not get a job, can create a job. If you do not get a job, you can offer value. There's one major aspect of life that I've not seen a lot of people explore, and that is the place of internship and volunteering. Most of the time, people are so concerned about working to earn instead of working to learn. We need to begin to think more about volunteering. If you do not have a job, can you volunteer your service to the sector where you want to work or to places where you would love to work in and offer yourself as a volunteer? Don't think money. Money will always come. I've started my career as a volunteer in the organization where I started with. I wrote them a letter that I wanted to work with them. They said, there's no vacancy. And I got the inspiration that, well, if there's no vacancy, if I sit down at home, nothing changes. But let me go and volunteer and let me just go and start learning. And I was thinking, how would I get money? I said, well, don't worry about what you don't have. Focus on what you have. So I wrote them. And I said, look, I want to volunteer. They said, there's no, I said, no problem. I just need to leave the house and be learning. And I got into that place, and the first month they paid me. And I can tell you stories upon stories of people that have volunteered their services also, and they ended up being employed or getting other opportunities through that platform. So don't have gaps in your journey. You can't say you are looking for a job, and then when you finally get to an interview, they say, what have you been doing? You said nothing. If you get an interview and they say, what have you been doing? Well, I've been volunteering in this place, I've been volunteering here, I've been doing this. They will know that you are busy because you cannot just be idle. And that's the way people should be thinking, because that job you are looking for, who should create the job? Who should create the job? You went to school, now you are looking for someone to give you a job. All the school you went to, is the school not supposed to prepare you to be a job creator? But no, education does not equal to wealth creation, because the kind of education we have is not holistic and it's not preparing people for the real world. So that also needs to be adjusted holistically on the national scale.
Now, Dr. if we move over to wealth creation, what does wealth creation really mean to you? And how do we unlock the secret of wealth creation? Because I'm just thinking what people might be thinking that, oh, we're discussing wealth creation this morning. We have billionaires in the country, you know, well-known billionaires, Forbes billionaires. We see them up and down. Is that the type of wealth creation we're talking about? I've asked you like 2 questions now.
Okay. Well, one of the things we need to understand is the very phrase wealth creation already speaks to us. Wealth is created. It's not automatic. Wealth is created. And that means that somebody must take responsibility for the creation of that wealth. The challenge is that a lot of people want to become wealthy, but they don't want to be involved in the creation of the wealth. They want somebody else to create wealth and hand it over to them. So there are many facts about wealth creation that we may not be able to fully offload. Number one, there is a wealthy place. There is a wealthy place, which means money is available everywhere. All the money on earth is still available on earth. Money did not travel. Aliens did not carry it away. That's why it's called currency, because it is either flowing to you or flowing away from you. So there is money everywhere. But if you don't have it, it's because you have not produced value that will bring the money to you. Number two, wealth is created. Somebody must take responsibility for the creation of the wealth. Don't expect somebody to do for you what you should do for yourself. In the world that we live in right now, nobody investigates the source of your poverty. But when you become rich and wealthy, everybody wants to investigate the source of your wealth. How did he get his money? How did she get her money? So it is your own responsibility to investigate the source of your poverty and tell yourself, I am sick and tired of poverty, and try to break free so that you will not continually be a brand ambassador for poverty. Number 3, wealth creation takes time. It takes time to create wealth. You don't just wake up in the morning and become wealthy in the afternoon. No, it takes time. So all this get rich quick scheme, all this I want to blow. You don't blow, you grow. Everything that blows scatters. Everything that blows disintegrates. Number 4, there are ingredients for wealth creation. They are called laws, principles, guidelines, codes, secrets. You need to learn them. And when you learn them, you need to utilize them. And there are vehicles. Number 5, there are vehicles for wealth creation. So we can go on and on like that. So wealth creation is an entire gamut on its own, and that's why we have produced a lot of books and products and materials for people. All my social media, my YouTube channel, they are filled with all kinds of information. Nancy, you've done a lot. We have a lot of information out there that people can go get through books, through materials that can help them to be able to become wealthy. But to put it in one capsule, wealth creation is threefold: financial intelligence, financial planning, financial discipline. Once you follow these 3 things, you'll become wealthy. It's only a matter of time.
So how do you go on this journey of financial self-discovery? Earlier on, our correspondent, Norma, went to the street. I heard one of the respondents saying, and I don't know if you listened to him, a man that said during this holiday that he took time to have a self-reflection, to think about other ways he needs to make money for himself and his family. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, fantastic. And I still think that many Nigerians would have had that self-reflection. How important is this self-discovery for financial well-being? Can you give us like a few steps around the 3 areas which you've talked about: financial discipline, financial management, and all of that? Are they practical? Can we make it a bit practical? Because sometimes it could be that we're saying some things that are just esoteric.
Okay, so let's look at those 3 things, because it also answers the issue of the self-reflection. Number 1, to ever become rich, wealthy, or change your story, you need financial intelligence. And financial intelligence is financial education. Unfortunately, schools don't teach financial intelligence. Today, over 80% of what you learn in school is useless when you graduate. Why? Because the curriculum is outdated, and many of the schools, they are preparing you for a world that does not exist anymore. And if you are going to become rich or wealthy, you have to become it to attract it. You have to become rich to attract riches. You have to become wealthy to attract wealth. So the first thing is financial intelligence, and it means that everybody must make up their mind to say, look, this year I want to study money. Because everybody wakes up every day, they go out to go and work to earn money. Yet they don't understand money. I want to study money. I want to learn more about money. And there are a lot of free materials in this world of there's too much information overload. So just spend time to say, okay, maybe 1 hour every day, 1 hour every week. I'm going to sit down to study about finances. I'm going to read about personal finance. I'm going to listen to modules on YouTube about personal finance, just to be educated and to be informed about personal finance. So that's practical, because it's through a book, through a tape, through a summit, through a seminar. Even if you don't have money, free things are available all over. You start with that so that you can become better. Because if you know better, you will do better. The more you learn, the more you earn. Your learning capacity is what determines your earning capacity. Nobody will pay you for what you don't know. That's number 1. Financial intelligence, financial education. The second thing is financial planning. Sit down and have a plan. If you fail to plan, you have already planned to fail. Proper planning prevents poor performance. How do you plan your money? Number 1, every money that comes into your hand, 30% of that money does not belong to you. So if you earn 100,000, you actually earn 70,000. You say, what do I mean by that? 30% of the money does not belong to you. 10% of it belongs to the universe. It belongs to the world. If you are a Christian, they call it tithe. If you are a Muslim, they call it zakat or sadakat. If you are a free thinker or an atheist, they call it generosity. They call it corporate social responsibility. They call it charity. Every must ensure that everything they are getting is not consumed, or else you are consuming your future. Then 20% of that money does not belong to you. It belongs to your future. What do I mean by that? Every money you are going to earn in your lifetime is not given to you at once. It is broken into months, broken into income through businesses. So money is tripartite. Money has a past, money has a future, money has a present, and money has a future. So when you collect that salary, inside that salary, your past is there to take care of the bills you have already incurred. Inside that salary, your present is there to take care of your ongoing obligation. Inside that salary, your future is there. It's called savings and investment. So if you don't save a minimum of 10 to 20% of every money that you make, you're already eating your future. By the time you enter the future, there will be no future, because there is nothing called future. The future is a concept. Today is yesterday's future. Today is the tomorrow you spoke about yesterday. But people say, I cannot afford to save. You cannot afford not to save. Because if you eat your tomorrow, you will not have a tomorrow. So you need to have that savings, and then you need to delay gratification, and then you now carry the savings and then put into investment. Last year alone, the stock market in Nigeria did so bad.
Yeah.
People were making almost 50%, 40% return in the stock market. How much does it take to play in the stock market?
5,000
You could have done that with just 50,000. With 5,000,
even 5,000
in the stock market. So
yeah.
many times, because of lack of financial intelligence, people think there are people that bought stock of one organization for 1.2. By the end of the year, it was already about 6 million. So these things are very, very important. So, and then the third one is discipline. Because all these things we are saying, it looks as if, they're just saying it. You need to be disciplined. Financial discipline is what separates between the men and the boys. Financial discipline is what helps you to stay focused to your plan, focus on your savings plan, focus on your investment plan. It's the discipline that helps you to focus on continually learning, because the day you stop learning, you start dying. It's the discipline that makes you to wave away every distraction. You don't have money, yet you are buying it. In Christmas, you see people spending money, going to watch movie. Or each of the movies, some of them were 7,000. You watch 3 movies in the cinema. 7,000 times 3, that's 21,000.
Doctor, but that is also a sector.
Saved you a lot.
Doctor, that is also a sector now that people are employed in now. People will make money too. Because if you are in that sector too, you need to craft ways to make money. I just talked about Funke Akindele earlier on, hitting 1 billion naira, surpassing her own record. She's also trying to earn money. She's creating value. And that value is also meant for people.
Value. That's why she's making money.
Yeah, so why are you now saying that people spending like 21,000 naira watching a movie? Are you saying perhaps there should be a bit of moderation in terms of spending? Is that what you're saying?
My sister, I was in the movie. I went there with my wife and my boy, my nice baby.
Okay.
I was there. I spent the money because I can afford it.
Okay.
Hey, so that 1 billion that Funke made,
your money is there.
I paid for that 1 billion. My money is there, but I can afford it.
Okay.
But somebody that cannot afford it because you want to flex, you want to spend the money. Now the person you spend the money on has made billions. How much of that billion is coming back to you? I can afford it. I went there and I did an exhibition in the cinema and I made money. So the money I spent for that cinema was the money I made from that same venue. I had a stand. 2 of my staff were there. I went there to autograph and release my new book. And when we finished, we went to watch movie. So I made the money to watch the movie, not the one that I labored for. So if you don't have money, don't spend what you don't have.
To impress people you don't like.
Stay within your means.
Okay. What is the role of the government in wealth creation of her people? Because in Nigeria, many Nigerians are also of the view that some billionaires that we have, that government deliberately created those billionaires, and not, you understand what I mean? So many Nigerians have that idea that if government say make you blow, you go blow. Or if you have one contract like this, many Nigerians are thinking that way. Many Nigerians are also thinking, especially now that we have the menace of gambling in Nigeria, that, with my 200 naira, I can make 1 million. Or, you understand what I mean? Or one day, something will just happen. There are many Nigerians that have that mindset.
And would that kind of mindset help? All the mindset, how far with the mindset? One thing, when it comes to government, it is not the job of the government to be able to give you money or give you a job. The responsibility of the government, number one, is security and life of human beings. Number two, now they are hoping for a better one. Why will you put your hope? It's not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. So don't put your hope in government. Whether they perform or not, put your focus on offering value. No matter how bad the economy is, put your focus on offering value. And as you are offering value, solving problems, meeting needs, and answering questions for people, they will pay you for that, and you will continue to strive in the midst of the economy, because crisis creates opportunities. So don't yourself, be the government of your life and govern your own life in the midst of all the crises that we have going around. And please do note, while you may think that government is the one making everybody to prosper, there are a lot of people in this country that are billionaires. They are hard-working people. They are offering products, offering services. They didn't make their money by government contract or by being a crony people in politics. They made their money generally, and they are also victims of the economic environment, of bad road, improper infrastructure, no power, no light, no security. They are victims. But in the midst of it all, they still continue to do what they can do, and they are still growing because they are offering value.
Okay.
So if you cannot fly, run. If you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. Just make sure you are making progress.
Don't just sit down in one place. Okay, just 1 minute to the end of this program. How do you now unlock personal value that will create wealth for you? Because I'm thinking that for some people, they may really be at crossroads. Some may not even have, some may think that they don't have anything to offer. How do you begin to unlock that? Very quickly.
Number one, be observant of all the problems and the need all around you, and find which of the problems you can solve. That's all. Look around you. What are people complaining about? What are the problems? What are the needs? And then which of them can you solve? It's as simple as that. Find the need and fill it. Find the problem and solve it. That's all. Don't be analyzing problems. Look around you. Which problem have you solved? What's the problem around? What can I... People's clothes are dirty. Can I help them wash the clothes? You make money from their cleaning. People are not looking okay. Can I start barbing hair for them? You make money from that. People are asking for somebody to help them with washing their car. Can I do that? Or people are asking for somebody to help them train their children and to help them prepare for examination. Can I be a teacher? So just look for a problem, look for things around, and be the solution.
And solve the problem. Thank you very much, Dr. Emmanuel, for joining us this morning. You're my first guest for today's live show. So Happy New Year again. And hopefully by the end of 2024, we'll be here. Of course, I'll have you before then. And let's begin to critically look at all of this. Because one thing I've also realized in my journey, doing this for many years, is that many Nigerians really lack information on the right thing to do. And even when they have it, the application of that knowledge is also another thing. Thank you very much for adding to the insights this morning, Dr. Olumide Emmanuel, who is the Chief Executive Officer.
Thanks for having me.
Who is the Chief Executive Officer at Common Sense Group. Of course, he has dropped some common sense insights, and I hope that you take them all in. Be the best you can be, and be the change that you want to see. I am Nancy Nadia. I'll see you all again tomorrow, God willing. Bye for now.